warning so we can go live. There you go. All right. The time is now 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this evening's meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Planning Commission, a special Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, July 21st. Could we please have the clerk call roll for us?
Mr. McLeister?
Present.
Mr. Dalpays?
Present.
Mr. Mahousen?
Here.
Mr. Sarah?
Present.
Mr. Volas?
Here.
Thank you so much. The first item on our agenda would be taking a look at the minutes from the July 7th meeting, and I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Could we please call the vote?
Mr. Dalpays?
Yes.
Mr. Sarah?
Abstain.
Mr. McLeister?
Yes.
Mr. Volas?
Abstain.
Mr. Mahousen?
Yes.
All right, that has passed. And that is going to bring us into item number 4 on tonight's agenda. This portion of the meeting is an adjudication and public hearing. So if I may ask our court reporter here to please administer the oath. Thank you so very much. And actually, as my watch dinged here, I forgot to give the request that if you could please silence your phones or any devices that might go off. So at this point, we'd be inviting somebody up to speak about the item number 4, which is an application for 341 Wise Avenue Northeast, North Canton, Ohio 44720. Item number 4 will be a conditional use to permit a proposed construction of a North Canton School District transportation facility expansion. So do we have applicants here? And
Mr. McLeister?
yes, sir.
Items 4 and 5, I will need to recuse myself from those following items.
Okay, and thank you so very much, Mr. Delapace. Okay, very good. Thank you for reminding us. So, okay, yes, if you'd like to come up and speak, and just state your name and who you're representing.
Okay, Andrew Lolithan with Soul Harris Architects. I'm the project architect. So with the adjudication here, just looking to working with North Canton City Schools for a new 2.5 bay repair garage for their bus facilities. So it'll be a transportation facility, and it'll house a transportation director, and then also have a driver lounge area as well for the bus drivers. The 2.5 bays will be repair bay, not only for the buses, but then also a smaller repair bay for the smaller vehicles, being vans, trucks, also for the district. And then also there'll be an additional bay for basically washing the buses as well. So the location would be between Pershing and Wise, per the site plan that was submitted there currently, where all of the buses park currently. So really would be looking to add that new facility within that current lot, and then kind of expand the bus parking area, which is currently gated now to the north towards the stadium. Yep, last name is L-A-L-L-A-T-H-I-N. You're welcome.
Mr. Van Gundy, any thoughts or comments from the city?
I think that's working now. Yes, thank you. Staff has met with the applicant as part of the pre-application process. Each of the department heads were invited to the meeting where any questions that were presented were answered. Out of that meeting was a condition staff would like to request as part of the recommendation for the approval. And on your screen is the proposed condition of approval staff is requesting. And essentially, we're talking about an easement for a relocation of a city water main to help ensure that the fire flows will be maintained project. Okay. So of course, I'm available for any questions and happy to help.
Yeah, I think they said to, they're having a hard time reading, seeing it, so could we read that out to them, just what you're asking for, Mr. Van Gundy? Okay.
Absolutely. So the condition of approval is provide a 20-foot wide easement located within the proposed on-site drive access road extending from the end of Pershing Avenue to the intersection of Wise Avenue northeast and 4th Street northeast to accommodate a city water main extension to help ensure the fire water pressure is maintained.
You're welcome. At this time, do we have anybody on the Planning Commission that has any questions or comments for the applicant?
I have none.
Yeah, can you explain a little bit, is Pershing still going to end where it does today, or does it go through?
So with the application right now at Pershing, there is a dead end right there at that road. We would look to just go ahead and open up that portion of Pershing to have access onto really the parking lot right there. It would be for really the bus drivers, and it's the south side of the stadium. It wouldn't be a public access drive or anything like that, but it would be another approach or entrance onto the site at the end of Pershing.
Is it going to be gated or anything, or is it always going to be open?
Oh,
Todd Henne, Henne. Our intention wasn't to put a gate there, although that could be done relatively easily at any step of the process if either now there's a fear of cut through or later that's deemed something that we're seeing. So obviously Pershing doesn't see a lot of traffic right now. There's a number of those streets running parallel, so hopefully it's not a concern, but certainly that's open to the board's vision.
One follow-up question from that. Isn't the site plan showing a gate there? A double swing gate?
The site plan, I don't know if you can pull it up. I think we did have a note on there, and I think that was the topic of discussion. If there would be, obviously the desire to have one, I think we had made the note to it. But yeah.
So another question I have is, to the south of the proposed building, you're shown like a drive-through.
Correct, yeah. So the drive-through at the south end of that site, so if you're looking at the plan up on the screen, it would be the left side. What we're looking at doing is basically creating a curb cut base that connects Pershing to Wise, just for the ability for buses to go ahead and pull in. That drive that's shown there is just for ease of access with the buses to go ahead and fuel, both from the diesel and then propane fueling points, which if you look at that drive aisle just to the north or to the right on the screen, that's where the new fueling basically pumps would be for the district. So that drive aisle that's kind of shown dashed on the plan, there would be sliding gates at both the Wise and the Pershing roads there to go ahead and close off the gated portion of the bus parking.
So can we point where the diesel is going to be at? Because I'm not seeing it right there.
Yes, yep, that would be it.
So my question goes to that drive. Is it going to be gated?
That drive will be gated, yes. So there'll be sliding gates. I've noted 24-foot sliding gates at both the Pershing and the Wise Avenue.
And then the rest of it is still fenced?
Correct.
Will be fenced in?
Correct.
Thank you.
and just to double check, because I think Mr. Milhausen brought it up, It appears to show that there is a gate there at the end of Pershing, so,
Correct, yeah. So there is shown a gate right there, and I think we had conversation, and I don't know if we had fully settled that, but we're showing a gate there so that way, just as Pershing is a dead end right now, the district could, go ahead and include the gate there to go ahead and close off Pershing as well. Really, the importance of kind of opening in that, or I guess, end of Pershing right there is just for bus access to go ahead and get into the gated bus area. So if you can see on the building, those two bays that we have called out on kind of the south side of the building, those are drive-through bus bays. So when they go ahead and repair those buses, they don't have to worry about backing the bus back out. So if they go ahead and pull forward through and hit Pershing, then they could go ahead and take a right and go north to go ahead and make that loop back into the
rather than
the
going
site.
south and around the block, okay?
Correct, yep.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the Planning Commission?
So I just want to be straight and understand. So is there a gate or is there not a gate?
We're showing a gate.
Okay, there will be a gate there, so Pershing will not be, vehicles will not be able to go straight into the parking lot of the football stadium.
Right, just as long as they had obviously the school would then have the key access to go ahead and open and close that gate. And I would assume that would be during your bus hours then. So, any time that basically the transportation facility is open, the intent would be those gates would be open to go ahead and allow the buses to go ahead and proceed through that, the gate then to have access back to the north side of the bus parking area.
So on a football night, which I attend all the football games, what, will that gate be locked or will be opened up for traffic for those games?
We'll go ahead and stick with Eric's first comment that we'll only open that gate for business hours, Monday through Friday school days. And so currently now with the bollards that are there, it's impassable. Now, if that was something that Gary Cohen for Emergency Services would ask for a Friday night game just because of the traffic, we would certainly entertain that. It wouldn't be difficult for us, but other than the school day business hours, it would function exactly as it does now with the bollards there. So,
Thank you.
Any other questions, or can we open this up to the audience, gentlemen? All right, at this point, is there anybody from the audience who would wish to speak on this item? If so, please come up to the podium, give us your name and address, and you're free to speak on it.
My name is Alberta Kelly. I live at 311 Pershing Northeast. My question is this. People park there on Pershing for the football games. Is the gate not going to be there anymore?
yes, so our attendance gates will be still there on the south side, and we'll allow ticket takers there, correct?
Okay, so
Yes.
She makes a
Yeah.
good point, Mr. Henney. I think she's maybe talking about pedestrian traffic coming off of, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this will affect it positively or negatively in terms of people choosing to park street side versus in our large lot, so.
Okay. The other question that I have is, on your paper that you sent out, you said there was going to be a 10,000-gallon above-ground tank, gas tank. I'd like to know where that is going to be.
And Mr. Van Gundy, if you could show those on the, and one is diesel and one is propane, is that correct? Right? Okay.
So it's a 10,000 total gallon tank, and it's going to be split either 70-30 or 60-40 diesel with the larger of the two. So currently we have an underground storage tank. Underground is always a concern. We obviously get it checked and follow state law. We have them checked every summer for any leaks or any issues like that. It's always a concern. we're going to be happy. This is clearly the safest way, is the above-ground storage. We don't have to worry about any issues with your groundwater or anything like that. So that's our goal. This is definitely the best method is the above ground.
It's far enough away from the homes and residences.
Yes, yeah. Yep, Andrew, I'm sure you.
So both with the propane with AmeriGas and then also the diesel, so both companies, they have basically setbacks required for each one of those tanks for safety purposes. With the propane, I know it's 25 feet. I believe actually with the diesel, it's 20 feet. So basically that's with any structure. So they have, basically with all those above ground tanks, we have setbacks that we have to comply with.
Believe us, I don't think we want to have that happen either, so. Any other thoughts on that, or? All right, thank you. Was there anybody else who wished to talk on this evening? All right, seeing none, any additional comments from members of the commission or from the city?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'd be looking to entertain a motion on, and this, just so I have this correctly, this will be a conditional use permit. We're still going to be talking about the general development plan for item number 5, so we're going to take these separately. So I'd be entertaining a motion for item number 4.
Jamie, I'll make a motion to approve the application as submitted.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we please call the vote?
Mr. Sarah?
Yes.
Mr. McLeister?
Yes.
Mr. Volas?
Yes.
Mr. Mahousen?
Yes.
Fantastic. We're moving on to item number 5, which is the general development review for this same project, the proposed construction of a North Canton City School District Transportation Facility expansion. I don't know that we need any further discussion on this, Mr. Van Gundy, unless you think so, or?
I concur with that
Okay.
statement.
So at this
Thank you.
point, we'd be looking for a motion on item number 5.
I will make a motion, but I want to add on this that the gate will be there at the end of Pershing Street, and the gate will be open during school hours, Monday through Friday.
And I forgot to mention, if I may add in, we need to add in the provision that Mr. Van Gundy showed us earlier as far as the easement for the water line, so.
The 20-foot easement
Correct.
for the water line
Okay.
will be part of that motion.
Okay. A motion is on the floor. Is there a second?
I'd like to make an amendment to that.
Okay.
In addition to Monday through Friday during school hours and any special event deemed by the school district.
I'll accept that.
You accept that? Okay. So the motion is still on the floor, and is that a second, Mr. Volas?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Could the clerk please call the vote?
Mr. Mahousen?
Yes.
Mr. Sarah?
Yes.
Mr. McLeister?
Yes.
Mr. Volas?
Yes.
Okay. That takes care of item number 5. And before we move on to item number 6, if we could maybe alert Mr. Delapez that he may re-enter the room. All right. We have Mr. Delapez back, so let's move into, although I guess we need one more second here. Mr. Van Gundy, are we able to move on here real quick? I wanted to get into item number 6. And are you able to give us a rundown? Or we could certainly, if you'd like to, we could certainly take a 5-minute recess if they had remaining questions.
Do you mind if we take a 5-minute
Okay,
recess?
can we take a 5-minute recess? Do we need to take a,
What's that?
oh,
Oh,
that's
yes,
probably a good
Ben-
idea. Okay.
Ben's here. He could cover for me. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, Ben, why don't you roll us through item number 6?
Ben Young, I'm the clerk of City Council, and I'll speak on behalf of City Council who submitted this to you this
Okay.
evening.
Welcome, Ben.
I see that they separated out the resolution and the ordinance. They're actually the same thing, so under the zoning code, the resolution is a formality that City Council must take to send an ordinance to you for consideration. So the resolution doesn't actually do anything other than send the ordinance to you guys. The ordinance affects the lighting regulations for business districts in the city of North Canton. Councilmember Fonte brought this forward. He had seen basically taller light poles with LED lights that could more directly focus and angle light downward. He saw that up in Lake Township. According to him, this had been considered by Acme at one point, but was not permitted by our zoning regulations. We had a first meeting about this at City Council, and we got a lot of comments from the building department staff, and they gave us several recommendations, which were ultimately folded into the ordinance before you today. So the final product is that taller light poles up to 30 feet, including the concrete footer, so not just the pole, but the whole height of the light, would be permitted only in the newly created North Gateway District on North Main Street, and only when the parking lot does not abut residential areas.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other thoughts from you, Mr. Van Gundy?
This went through a few discussions with City Council, and I do believe this is a good middle ground that does open the opportunity to exercise new practices in lighting design. One of the other positives here is this does not have an outright approval, citywide, and it can be applied where it makes sense.
Okay, thank you very much.
I believe it's conditional approval. Am I correct, Marty? Did we make it conditional?
That is what we talked about. I was just looking here. Yes, we did make that a conditional approval, so it would come back before you before it would be implemented.
Okay, thank you. Members of the Planning Commission, any comments?
When you mentioned maximum 30 feet, you said from the footing. I'm assuming you mean from the parking surface up. So
Yes, so the 30 feet includes the footing. The previous regulations were just the pole and didn't include the footing.
And this is only Main Street, North Gateway?
Yes, it's only Main Street, North Gate, roughly north of 10th Street.
Any other questions?
I guess I'm not following why we're doing this. I don't understand it.
So in the discussions leading up to tonight, the reason it was limited to the North Gateway is the properties in that area are predominantly commercial, larger commercial properties. And, it's this type of properties that would be interested in having the increased height, which then allows for a greater spacing, less light poles, and that's in light of, no pun intended, the high efficiency LED lights with greater lumens per watt output.
But why wouldn't we do the north and south? Why are we only, I get it's, but you also, I mean, if we start changing this thing, these light poles, then you're gonna have an imbalance on Main Street.
When we were doing the assessment, we weren't seeing as many properties that could benefit from this. Majority of the properties that would benefit from this was in the North Gateway.
The North Gateway includes, the old Kmart, the Acme Plaza that have large parking lots that don't abut residential uses. The South Gateway District is centered kind of around the Everhard East Hill intersection. And, if you think of the businesses that are down there, there's the vet, there's some insurance companies, there's some financial brokers, there's Beardist Jewelers. They're much closer to the street on smaller lots, and they abut residences very close behind or right next to their parking lots. And because these are, potentially up to 30-foot poles, they would be taller than your average single-family home and would potentially create glare.
And I think also, is it fair to say that down the road, we could change, or council could suggest that we change this further down at another zoning portion of the city? I mean, this is not finality, I guess is my point, so.
Well, what about like Charlotte and Maine? I mean, that's.
We discussed Charlotte and Maine. We decided there were too many residencies too close to that would potentially have light pollution from a taller pole.
The minimum setback in the new center district is also 0 feet. So that would mean that parking lots have to be in the back next to the residential uses.
So would this apply to the new Diebold development and their?
It would not, no.
Would not.
Diebold is not in that zoning district.
That's what I thought.
However, the variance process is always an option as well for all the other properties that may see this and think this could benefit them. It wouldn't be much of a different process.
Well, and this is stating it is 25 feet, but the option for 30 feet is available if they come to planning with photometric study, and then we would have to issue a conditional use. Is that?
That's
correct. So
That's
currently they're allowed 25 feet. So
Right.
this is essentially giving them 5 feet if
If they want
you
to
say
pursue
yes.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So Diebold could come back if they wanted to reduce their.
They would have to
Fixture
get a variance from ZBOA first, but yes, they could, in theory, come back.
Any other questions? All right, at this time, I would open it up to members of the audience, but I think we've bored everybody to death and they've left. So, any final comments before we entertain a motion? All right, do we have a motion on this?
All motion to approve?
All right, we have a motion to approve items, and I guess would we be taking items 6A and B as one, or we're going to vote them? Or do we technically have to vote on 6A since it was just?
6A is nothing,
That's
nothing
right.
for you. It's just 6B that is for your
Okay.
consideration. 6A is the method of getting 6B to you.
Perfect, that's what I thought. So we're going to be voting on just 6B then.
Just, okay, so have we addressed the landscaping and screening?
That's just the chapter name
Yeah.
that this is
Oh,
under.
gotcha. Okay, then yes, 6B.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second for item number 6B on our agenda?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. Could we please call the vote?
Mr. Volas?
Yes.
Mr. Dowpaze?
Yes.
Mr. Sarah?
No.
Mr. McLeister?
Yes.
Mr. Mahousen?
Yes.
Okay, that concludes our agenda this evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second?
motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right.